Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juggernaut, and World of Tanks is fun again, despite all the problems that it still has. I understand that there is a sense of futility almost, and maybe a little bit of hypocrisy thrown in there as well, when I've been sort of optimistic about patch 2.0, and now that it's here and been here for a bit, I'm telling you that the patch has several problems and that, it's not ideal and so on and so forth. You could say the same about every single update that Wargaming ever developed, right? It's never been without problems, but on the whole, I think patch 2.0 has been a resounding success. It brought back a very large number of players to the game, some that haven't played the game in more than 10 years. At least if internet forums are to be believed, so all of these things are awesome. The result is that currently matchmaking is a little bit, interesting, right? But, despite all that, the new matchmaking system does seem to work to some extent. Now, you're gonna have to give it a little bit of time for it to adjust and for the player base to settle down a little bit as well, because, like I said previously, it's a bit chaotic, not just in the sense of the number of players in the game, but also in the sense that you all of a sudden have a ton of players that have these super high-tier vehicles that haven't played the game in more than 10 years, and the matchmaker doesn't really take that into consideration, whether you've played a game or like several hundred games recently, or no games at all in the last 10 years. It never really takes that into consideration at any point, and so, yeah, it's, like I said, the matchmaker can be a bit interesting at these times, but other than that, like I said, the patch is a resounding success. The resources, the tanks, the credits, the bonds and everything that Wargaming have generously given us are amazing, and I think the rebalanced vehicles also work really, really well. I've been playing with the Tiger II recently. That thing is a beast. I mean, it was an awesome tank prior to the buff, or rather, it was an awesome tank in the previous buff that it received. Now it's even better. I mean, its gun has been slightly improved. It has a little bit more in the way of hit points. The sodding thing is amazing, right? And then the economy is also a little bit different as a result. Everyone now has access to Tier 8 premium vehicles. Everyone. In fact, not just one, but several Tier 8 premium vehicles. And if you're an active player of the game, I don't think the game's been has been in a better shape in as far as free-to-play players are concerned, maybe ever? It's a big statement, but if you think about it, you have free premium tanks. If you're active and play the game often, you have all sorts of benefits, from Twitch drops to anniversaries to exclusive events to, all sorts of things where you can earn a boatload of credits and a boatload of other resources in the game. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good position. Thank God that ISU missed, or rather bounced off me again. Batshot's going to be a problem, but I need to shut down the BZ before it reloads. And I'm thinking, yeah, never mind. There's no time to go back, there was no time to go forward. Yeah, well, it is what it is, what can I say? I haven't played the game in a while myself, and I'm not doing all that great when it comes to games, especially not when it comes to live games, because I'm trying to focus on the commentary as well as try and do something meaningful in the game, and, play to some decent level, which is harder than it looks when you're trying to have a conversation with yourself. But regardless, I think the game's in a good state right now. In terms of its more pay-to-win aspects, like the equipment, the World of Tanks Plus stuff, and so on and so forth, I still despise Wargaming for introducing World of Tanks Plus on top of already premium days that most of the player base pays for. But on the other hand, it's not too ridiculous, and what I mean by that, it's kind of balanced out now with battle passes and everything. Now, do you still need to buy the battle pass for its full benefits? Absolutely. But even the free battle pass with bounty equipment, with training slots, and sorry, not with training slots, but with training booklets and a couple of premium days and stuff, is already awesome. And from a free-to-play perspective, if you're really active in playing the game and you go through the battle pass, you use those premium days to grind credits in your tier 8s. In your tier 8 premiums, I mean specifically, of course, and then economically, the game's not really in a terrible state anymore. You can afford to fire premium ammunition, you can afford to buy some training booklets, you can afford to buy most of your tanks, you can afford to buy ammunition for them, you can afford to repair them. It's all of a sudden, it's not the worst thing ever, and yeah, I would say overall the result of these patches and the changes are a more fair game for people that are playing as completely free to play. That said, if you do decide to drop a little bit of money on the game and pay for, let's say, 30 days or 90 days of premium, which isn't too much, you can accumulate a vast array of credits. And something else that I've noticed recently, because I've been playing so much, is that I have an ungodly amount of resources when it comes to... Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah, that really helped me acquire a better position for future combat and generally help me get against those tank destroyers. That's highly helpful of you. Thank you. Oh, now there's the IS-3 there as well. Oh, thanks to the Lorraine for encouraging me to take up a forward position. Oh yes. Well, at any rate, killed by the Lorraine. Thank you very much. Because I can't go back. Yeah. It could be someone that hasn't played in 10 years. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to report him. I'm just going to relax a little bit. The UI is atrocious. Don't get me wrong. Like, the garage itself, like these buildings, the little details, the guys playing pool, the place where you actually get to examine the tank with, the canal underneath it and the toolkit at the side and the train of tanks assembling in the background and all that good stuff. This is gorgeous. It's the buttons that are the problem. Like, for example, how many Battle Pass points have I accumulated on this tank specifically? I don't know. I have to click, right? I have to find it somewhere. How do I find that? Well, there's this tiny little thing that you mouse over and then it tells you. I mean, that's atrocious. Okay, let's say I want to upgrade something on this tank. Well, it used to be rather simple, or I want to go to the tech tree. Now it's all the way over here, and then when you open the tech tree, it doesn't open the tech tree from the tank. It opens the entire nation's tech tree, which is, I guess, not too bad, but if I want to go to the tech tree for this particular vehicle, I go here, and, well, this is a premium, so never mind. But, let's go to the Comet, and I want to go to the tech tree for the vehicle itself. Now it looks like this. Here's the previous vehicle, here's the next vehicle. There's so much dead space in between them. Why is there so much dead space everywhere? I don't mean the good video game, the horror video game from a few years ago, or a number of years ago now. I mean, look at this. And then the missions and stuff over here. Oh, God. The battle passes, look at it. This is now the battle pass. I mean, you want to sell the battle pass, right? Put it back here where it was. Just look. Someone made a good point. They said that the UI looks like it was made for the phone. And if you think about it, when you tilt your phone to horizontal, you use your left thumb for these buttons here and your right thumb for these buttons here, and then there's nothing in the middle. It makes sense. It really does. I hate it. I really do. And then the resources up here and everything, and just and click the premium shop and opens it up in a new window. Okay, let's go to the store. And it loads everything. You can separate all of the... There's so many good ideas you can do. Just look at Reddit. Like, people have done it for you already. But, yeah. Anyways, aside from the UI, like I said, the game will always have problems. I'm not really contesting that at any point, but it's fun to play it again. And yes, there's 15-1 losses, yes, there's frustration, but at the same time, currently, if you're playing, I think, tier 7s and tier 9s, most of the time you're going to be fighting your own tier, or you're going to be top tier and fighting against lower tiers. Tier 6s are in a little bit of a precarious position, tier 5s are always in a difficult position, because they can never get +2 matchmaking. But aside from that, like, it's just fun to play the game, right? There's new missions, there's new content, and the existing missions and content have been slightly changed and stuff, and also as a result of the other changes towards the game's economy and stuff, you sort of view them differently now as well, and I'll explain that in a second. What I mean is, you get a free tech tree, an entire tech tree when you log in, and that makes completing some missions easier. Like, you can get the Gorilla, for example, tech tree. Most of the TD missions can be done with the Gorilla 15. For all of the campaigns. Furthermore, I've noticed that as someone that has spent an ungodly amount of time playing this game, I have probably like 100 2D styles in the garage, and I haven't used any of them. So that's on top of the ones that I'm already using on my tanks. Yeah, and that's all of them. I have never bought a single solitary 2D style. I thought about buying the Warhammer one, because I really like Warhammer, but I didn't. I didn't want to buy cosmetics in the game, because it's foolish and useless, and it's just, you know. And so I didn't do that. And I ended up, despite, you know, my best efforts, with over 100 skins, I think, in the game for a variety of tanks. Now, 3D skins are a different thing, but they're always meant to be, they were always meant to be a bit more prestigious and rare and stuff. So fair enough. And that means that on top of all of that, just by playing the game, you get access to so much stuff. And it has nothing to do with the amount of money I've spent on the game, which, to be fair, isn't that much. I bought a number of boxes for a couple of Christmases, not even in a row, just a couple of Christmases that I can remember. I think 2018 I spent a lot, 2020, 21 I spent a lot, and then 2024 I spent around maybe $100 on the game. And that gave me enough resources for several tanks, for premium days for most of the year, and so on and so forth, though I was fairly lucky, to be honest. But yeah, there you go. And so my point is, it's not as bad. It was looking a lot worse. The direction that Wargaming was heading in general, with World of Tanks Plus, with increased subscription numbers and benefits for the more you pay, the more stuff you get, sort of thing, it was not looking good for a while. And now, I don't really have a problem with most of it. Now, that said, they did add some extra benefits to World of Tanks Plus, I think. You get some more experience now or something. That's fine. I mean, it reduces the grind in the game. If you want to pay to reduce the grind in the game, I don't really see a problem with that when it comes to tech tree vehicles and things of that nature, but oh, that's a bit of a problem. Let's get out of there. As you can see, I use mainly small equipment and consumables. That is, a small repair kit, small first aid kit, and a manual fire extinguisher, which to be honest with you, I probably should switch to an automatic one, and should have done so ages ago, and yet I haven't, because you don't catch fire all that often in this game, and when you do, having an automatic fire extinguisher just eliminates the user error of not putting out the fire instantly, right? And so, all of that being said, yeah, sorry, not gonna happen, mate. A few more into him. Let's see if I can get to that Nashorn, or to push that guy. No, he should be dead. Let's get to the Nashorn and the back line of the enemy. If I can keep the Nashorn spotted, we're gonna be in a good position. Well, I wouldn't say 28 spotting damage is really going to change the outcome of this battle, but, you know, it is what it is. And I've also recently been doing the campaigns that I haven't done for ages, which is the I don't know actually off the top of my head. I know I did... What did I do? I did the HTC campaign and I did the Stug campaign, and I've finished those. What I haven't done yet is the other branch of the campaigns, the one that is sort of more progressive rather than challenging. Yeah, that one, the Chimera, I haven't done, so I don't have the Chimera or any of the following vehicles. So I've been doing that a little bit, and again, more crew books, more resources, more everything makes the grind a little bit easier, and I've trained up, I think, like 2 or 3 UK crews recently, on top of the ones I already have. And it just feels like the game's less punishing now. It doesn't require you to buy gold or to buy stuff at every step of the way. Instead, gold now seems more like a benefit or a bonus to something that you can get, you know, in other ways as well. And I appreciate the hell out of that, honestly. So anyways, that's been my experience with the game thus far. And I just felt like I owed an update after talking about Update 2.0 so much. Update, ironically. But yeah, it just felt like I should speak up and say something. There's been, yeah, in all due honesty, a fair bit of negativity surrounding the game. Not all of it undue. Like I said, the UI is atrocious. There's also missing ammunition in the game, and I don't mean ghost shells when you're fighting. I mean missing ammunition from your garage. So out of those 15 million that Wargaming gave you, you're gonna have to probably spend a couple to just rebuy the ammunition that you lost. Scummy move, I know, and people have even contacted support, and the support says you've been refunded, and you haven't. I'm one of those people, so yeah, yikes. But like I said, despite all of that, or it's not the end of the world. It's not. How the hell will I not spot this guy? Oh, that makes more sense. You're gonna really focus on me? Fine. Let's see who has more DPM. It's probably you. But I can get around you. Oh, come on. Hey, got him with the help of the little Frenchie, but yeah, there you go. I saw the Hellcat crash there in the end. That was funny. Alright, there you go. 15 to 8. See, it wasn't like we wiped the floor with them, and I dare say me pushing forward into the back line of the enemy made a difference. Had I just simply vanished in the beginning of the game, it wouldn't have been the same. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. And so, yeah. The game's fun to play. Visually, the game looks great. And with the upcoming changes, and I think with the tier 11s as well, which I haven't even touched yet, I've sort of been enjoying the lower tiers a little bit, because that's where the fun is at for me most of the time. But if you take a look at some of the higher tiers, I've played against several of them, and I think they're well balanced. I mean, some of them can be kind of ridiculous, but I played against a lot of KR1s, and they feel like a Soviet Super Heavy. They feel like a slight upgrade to the IS-7, but they're not ridiculously overpowered. Like, if I were in a tier 10 and I came up against a tier 11 tank, I wouldn't feel like a tier 5 light going up against a KV-2, where you just look at it with fear and dread. Right? It doesn't feel like that, and so I think they have some very interesting gameplay mechanics, but they're not overpowered. And Wargaming's push towards tier 9 premiums now makes a lot more sense as well, because now you have tier 11 tanks, and, you know, sort of everything's shifted to the right a little bit, and I think that's fine as well. I don't think any of this is sort of catastrophic and, you know, needs immediate attention and needs to be fixed and needs to be boycotted or whatever. I like the update. I like the direction that Wargaming is heading. The one thing that I'm worried about is the existing premium vehicles. With the buff to all the other tanks in the game, they've been indirectly nerfed a little bit. And I think that's awesome. There's a couple of them that I still think are absolute BS. I will show you one of them now. This. Here's one of them. You can put tier 12 tanks in the game, it doesn't matter. This thing is absolutely BS and should not exist and should not be in the game. The Skoda T56, I think, is absolutely BS when it goes up against other tier 8 vehicles. Against tier 9 and 10, it'll do fine. It'll be okay as a tier 8 tank, you know, nothing overly special about it. But if you put it up against a tier 8 or a tier 7 vehicle, you can just go back to the garage immediately. You don't really need to fight it, because you can't most of the time. That's been my experience with that vehicle, and I think it should be nerfed, and I think it's BS. But with, you know, by buffing all the regular tanks and the tech tree tanks, you've sort of inadvertently nerfed the premiums, and I think that's good. Matter of fact, I yearn for the days when premium tanks were less powerful than their regular tech tree counterparts. Yeah, that used to be a thing. In fact, that used to be a general rule. If you had a premium tank, way back when I started playing, if you had a premium tank, as a rule of thumb, it had to be less powerful than the tech tree variant. And then they became equal, and then the premiums became better. Or I think there was a very short period of time where they were a little bit different, right? So instead of having a high alpha damage gun, you would get a high DPM gun on a similar style tank as the regular tech tree one, right? And then it all changed, and I think the worst of it was when the Progetto hit, the premium Progetto at tier 8. That, I think, was the absolute worst this game has been in when it initially hit, because you got to remember the type of tanks we had in the game at that point, right? We didn't have all the tanks that we do now, and so for the life of me, I thought I had like at least 800 hit points left to fight the CLC, and I just wasn't paying attention. I apologize to my team. That was probably the stupidest thing I've done all the video. Wow. Alright, let's focus. Let's play with this. This is much more my speed. At any rate, though, I sort of run out of things to say. That's all my thoughts. Sort of abruptly, if I can say so. Yes, there's problems. Yes, I still think there's a couple of vehicles that need to be nerfed. XM57, I think, is just annoying. Not necessarily overpowered. The 1,400, or sorry, the 1,300 hit points. Equipment differences between the two. I think give it a significant enough nerf to where it has good armor, but if you get hit once or twice, you're in a world of trouble, whereas heavy tanks can take more hits than you, obviously, and its style sort of leads you on to play it as a kind of support heavy or a side-scraping heavy or something like that. The maps, I think, are still a little bit of a problem. I've removed Himmelsdorf and Ensk from the map pool. I just don't like those maps, but generally speaking, the map design recently in the last few years I don't think has been all that great. I don't like the new map either. I think it's way too corridory and there's way too many roofs. What the hell is he talking about? It screws with the camera angles a lot, and I think it's a big problem. But yeah, like it's just situations like that, and if not that, then certain positions on the map are way too strong, and one side has easier access to it than the other, etc., etc. All kinds of problems like that. For example, this. Like, it's a lot easier for me to get up here and then put a world of hurt on enemy tanks trying to... Provided I am able to hit something, it is a lot easier for me to put a world of hurt on enemy vehicles trying to make pressure up there. That is, provided you have any degree of support from the enemy, which... Not always... sorry, a degree of support from your friends, which is not always the case, as you can see. No light tank here, one guy went up here, there's nobody holding this line, and in general, I would say we are looking a little bit effed, if I can say so. Yeah, because I can't peek anymore, and I can't look back either. Yeah, this is not good. D-54 is going to fight here. Okay. It's not too late. It's not exactly early days either, if the analogy makes any sense. No, I'm just going to get shot. Expect to get shot from the Scorpion, and none of that, apparently. Alright, T-44, you want to go ahead? Go through. I am leaving, thank you very much. I'd much rather fight down there, and you will discover the joys of not being able to spot enemy tank destroyers. D-44 has just discovered those joys. Is he dead? No, he's not dead, okay. That's interesting. He kind of backed off and left his friend for dead. That's very interesting. I don't recommend doing that. Oh, really? Come on. I'm afraid of that SU-130PM, which... I've noticed a whole bunch of them in the game recently. They are, extremely good tank destroyers. High alpha damage gun with reasonable accuracy. Very good penetration. Like I said, there's very few bad things you can say about the SU-130PM. Comparable to the German Scorpion at tier 8. And then from that point on, it's a matter of taste of whether you prefer one or the other. We need to decap immediately, because there's 2 tanks in the cap circle, and I'm willing to sacrifice HP to spot one of them. And decap. Beautiful. And then there's the other one. 19 seconds. Plenty of time, but I still need to dive in there. Oh. Did I decap? I did decap! You're welcome everyone, I saved the game. You are very welcome indeed. Beautiful. Oh, he just shot. Shame. Shame. He was completely hulled down. There was no way to penetrate him, and I saw the timer and I realized I wasn't going to be able to get the last kill. But there you go, a half decent game for the end of the video after that debacle with the light tank previously. Like I said, the list way more my speed. Actually, one of the tanks that I bought with the free bonds that we were given, and it is a phenomenal vehicle. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. These have been sort of my updated thoughts now that I've played Update 2.0, and in fact, let me just bring up this, right? One of my clanmates had this to say about the new UI. Completely agree. I have nothing else to say. But yeah, it is what it is. But the game is fun, and I think that's the most important part. I will see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned with the rest of the series. Well, not much of a series, World of Tanks, but with the rest, certainly with the rest of the content that I produce on this channel. I'll see you all next time. Until then, have fun, take care, and bye-bye.